Hello. Today's stories come from r/IDontWorkHereLady. We've got 5 stories and a sandwich of crazy, with some heartwarming ones on either end. First up, I called roadside assistance today. Note that I am a physically capable adult male, mildly relevant. I blew out a tire while driving this afternoon, pulled off the busy road to a side street to assess the damage and start work on replacing the flat with the spare from the trunk. It turned out that the lug wrench provided in this particular car was absolutely tiny and thus provided very little leverage. Try as I might, I only managed to loosen one of the 5 lug nuts holding the tire on. No problem, I thought, as I have roadside assistance coverage on my auto insurance. A short call later, my insurance has dispatched a local service provider, and I receive a text stating that Daryl from the local provider will be arriving at my location by 2:34 p.m. That's less than a half-hour wait, so I'm pretty happy. At 2:33 p.m., a van approaches. The driver waves at me and pulls over. Driver immediately hops out with a toolkit in hand. We exchange brief pleasantries, and I explain my problem. Driver smiles and tells me the same thing happened to him last month and says not to worry about it. He takes out a proper wrench. I hand him the jack and spare, and he has my car back in operation in about 6 minutes flat. It was at this point when the conversation got a bit muddled. I ask him if he needs anything from me, like a signature, to ensure he gets paid. He responds that no money is necessary. I try to clarify my question and explain that I have roadside assistance on my policy and that my insurer got him dispatched to me and that I think they will pay his employer for the service called. His response? Oh, no one dispatched me. I was just driving by and thought that you could use some help. So you're not Daryl? Nope, Brian. I can't believe that I had handed this guy my jack and just watched him crank up my car while lying on the frozen pavement. I don't even remember how many times I apologized. Guy wouldn't even let me hand him some cash. He just left in full cheer and told me to pay it forward. Aftermath? I waited another 10 minutes for Daryl, but gave up and left after finding his employer's phone number and canceling the help request. My insurer had been sending me automated texts all day along the lines of, "Has your service provider arrived yet? Reply Y if yes, N if no. Has your service been completed yet? And how likely are you to recommend this service provider from 1 to 10? I can't figure out how to respond in such a way that no one gets in trouble or over underpaid. Anyway, thanks, Brian." This would be a classic pay that kindness forward kind of story. But the imagery of OP just handing the jack to a kind stranger without a word, expecting him to get to it, that's what makes it so brilliant. Bless Brian's heart. What a great person. I can't help but wonder, though, if Daryl was slacking off somewhere and kicking up his heels, since he was well past late. Our next story is, please update your emergency contact information. I don't work there anymore. Please do not call me if there's an emergency. This is an interaction I just remembered and figured it might fit here. Years ago, I worked as the administrator for a pair of residential treatment facilities where individuals with long term mental health issues lived. I was the contact person for a couple city and county agencies and would occasionally get calls about referrals, changes in parole status for some of my residents, that kind of thing. I left that position in the fall or winter of 2012. Back in 2020 or so, I got a call from one of the partners, and the conversation went like this. "Hello? Hello, this is whoever, let's call him B, with such and such agency. Is this OP? Please tell me what this is regarding." "I'm calling to update and verify our emergency contact information. We have you listed as the contact person for facility. Is that right?" "That's my name, but I haven't worked for that company since 2012. I am not an emergency contact for them anymore, and you will need to remove me from your list. I am not a resource for you or for them." Note, yes, I really did talk like that. 10 years in community mental health and outreach trains you to speak like a computer when necessary, so your conversations stay factual and you don't inadvertently agree to anything. "Well, we need some sort of contact information, and yours is the most up to date we have. Please spell your first and last name and your email or mailing address so our contact information is correct and we." Stop right there. I'm not verifying any of my contact information, as I am not an employee of company and cannot be used as a resource. Remove any of my information from your list and call company directly if you need updated emergency contact information. I don't even know who works at those sites any longer. I've been gone for years. I need you to help me update your contact information. You're being deliberately unhelpful. Yes. Now imagine how unhelpful I'd be if you called me at 10 p.m. on a Friday night because one of the residents stripped naked and ran down the street screaming that their dead grandparents were trying to kill them. Additional note, that's a call I actually did get when I was an after hours contact for these sites. Me continuing, again, please remove me from your list of contacts altogether. I no longer work for company and will not be handling any emergency calls. If you continue to harass me, I'll make my own call to company and report you for harassment. Man, I'm just trying to do my job. Yeah, well, you're also trying to get me to do something that is definitely not my job. Please do not call me for emergencies. Goodbye. Ended call. And that was that. I know it reads like a script or fake story, but yeah, a decade in community mental health and social work teaches you to talk like an automation sometimes, so you don't inadvertently reveal someone's protected information. And it does help one maintain a really weird level of professionalism and boundaries to keep you from overpromising something to someone. I love the "you're being deliberately unhelpful" line. Why, yes, I am. There were some really good short stories in the comments too that gave me a chuckle. Let's have a look. I got called into work last week. Retired 5 years ago. OP. Did you go in? I couldn't laugh and drive, so no. Got fired from a restaurant job 8 or so years ago. Kept getting calls from the burglar alarm company, usually around 3 a.m. First couple times, I politely told them I'm no longer employed there. Call the next person on the list. Then I called each manager and asked to be removed from the call list. No luck. After that, I told the alarm company, Tacos Palaco says send the police immediately. At $150 per unnecessary police response, I only got the call a couple more times. Let's jump into the crazy. Next up, I just wanted a drill, not a police report. All right, so a little backstory. This happened about 4 months ago. I had just finished an 11-hour shift and needed to stop at Home Depot to get a new drill. I just wanted to run in, buy it, run out, and get home. Of course, it wasn't that easy. I had just gotten to the drills and was looking over the options in my price range when I hear it. Excuse me, where are the wax toilet rings? There are a few other people in the area, so ignore it. Assuming there's an employee nearby, it's important to add, as I work in traffic control and just got off the job site, I'm wearing high visibility pants, a high visibility vest shirt that says company name traffic control on the back, a radio with a shoulder mic, and I have a traffic control technician certification card displayed on my vest. The employees here wear orange aprons and normal clothes. Hello? Do you want to do your job or just stand there looking at tools? At this point, I glanced around to see what was going on. I assumed some customer was berating an employee, which happens a lot at this location, unfortunately. I was surprised, however, to see some 30-year-old guy in a white button down shirt and tie looking at me like I'm stupid. Can I help you? I said, still not sure of the situation, but that seemed to tick him off. Yes, you can't tell me where the gosh darn wax rings are? He shouted. At this point, it clicked in my head what was going on. I'm sorry, sir, I started saying. I don't want to hear anything but an aisle number, he yelled, interrupting me and drawing the attention of a few other shoppers. Honestly, how did you get this job being so stupid? I tried again. I don't work. He cuts me off again. Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? Where are the wax rings? Now, I don't know why, but I got an idea in my head that I thought would be amusing and at the very least might get him away from me. I pointed behind him at a random aisle where wax rings almost certainly weren't in and said, It's right there. Finally, how stupid can you fracking be? He yelled, huffing and storming off. I thought that was the end of it. I figured he'd realize they're not in that aisle and then find an actual employee to ask. Nope. He came right back and started yelling that I don't even know how to do my job and that his best friend is the district manager and he'll have my job. During his yelling, I noticed a few shoppers staring at us. I just raised my hand, pointed to the same aisle as before, and said, They're right there. Look, can't you see them? How stupid can you fracking be? I retorted, taking glee in throwing the last part back at him. But he wasn't amused. He smacked my hand down and shoved me, yelling something about stupid punk teenagers. That was a bad idea. I'm not a skilled fighter or super strong or anything. but I know when I can take someone. This guy clearly didn't. I punched him once square in the nose, presumably breaking it, and he fell back, hitting his head on the concrete ground hard. "Someone call the police. This guy just attacked me," he yelled as the crowd nearby grew larger and larger. I was worried, obviously, it was in self defense, but I kept thinking that I should have shoved him back and not punched him. I was worried that if he hit his head to the point it caused a lot of damage, if I could get in trouble. A manager came over and asked what was going on. He started screaming that this employee attacked me when I tried to ask for simple directions. Look what he did. By this point, blood is visible on the spot he hit his head, along with the blood pouring out of both nostrils. Who did? The manager said, puzzled and concerned, looking around at the actual employees, who were still on their way over to the commotion. "Oh my gosh, are you all this dumb?" "Him," he screamed, pointing at me. He doesn't work here, sir," the manager said. The manager got on the radio for more employees, ignoring the man's insistence that I do, and tells me to follow him. He takes me to the security office and has me wait for the police. Luckily, multiple customers and the camera saw my side of the story, and since the police went to the injured person first to render aid, they also interviewed witnesses over there before coming to me. When they came in, I gave my side of the story. The police say it contradicts his versions of events, but that it matches the witnesses' statements. They said the guy was yelling, that he wanted me arrested and locked up. That's when the manager pulled up the footage, which showed him hit my hand and shove me, and I only hit him after that, and one time. Also in my favor, I was facing him with the drill shelf behind me when he shoved me, so I was somewhat cornered. Then they asked if I wanted to press charges, and since he wanted to get me arrested, I decided, heck yeah, lock his butt up. They arrested him, and a few months later, I found out he pled guilty and avoided jail time, but now he has an assault charge on his record. I honestly wouldn't have pressed charges if it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to press charges against me. I hope he learned his lesson and doesn't treat anyone that way again, even if they're a Home Depot employee. When will people learn to keep their hands to themselves? Having a verbal argument is not an invitation to get physical unless it's explicitly said, unless you put your hands on someone. Then that's all the consent you need. Mangled Barkeep in the comments put it nicely, though. Always press charges. It teaches entitled people to keep their damn hands to themselves. Can't do anything much about their abusive, idiotic words, but when they decide to put hands on people, then lessons need to be learned. And now, on to number 4. Cast to act as production staff, get treated as production staff. Now that my non-disclosure agreement is over, I figured I could finally share a great story that happened last summer while I was working as a supporting actor. I'm still not going to say the name of the TV show because they're run by a huge media company, but it was a very big, critically acclaimed US TV show. I, 21-year-old female at the time, had been working as a supporting actor, basically a glorified extra, for a few years, and last summer I was cast for the new season of this big TV show. I was cast as a European-looking concert staff or music tech for an episode based around a concert. I was asked to bring outfit choices, so I borrowed a few items of clothing and accessories that were my boyfriend's, as he actually works as a sound engineer and videographer. On the first day of filming, the wardrobe department chose which clothing I should wear and approved my accessories, etc. They were commenting on how good and realistic I looked, and I told them that it was because I was cast to act as the same job my boyfriend actually does, which they found entertaining. A few times during that day, I had other supporting actors come up to me asking for direction and questions about where they should go, and I told them I was only dressed like this for the role and was a supporting actor like them. They thought it was hilarious and apologized. Around the third scene we shot on the day, I was given my directions again and had specific instructions on what to carry, who to pretend to talk to, and when, etc. Normal background stuff. Action was called for the scene, and the cameras were rolling. It was then that I hear a member of the actual production staff hiss at me, "Get out of the shot." I looked confused, but continued doing what I was meant to do so I didn't cause a retake. I had to pick up some electrical cables, walk through the main actors, and walk out the door with them. I picked up the cables and heard, "Stop it! What are you doing?" This woman was talking in that annoying hissy loud whisper, and everyone could hear. I ignored, because it is literally my job to, and walked through the main cast and out the door. I paused on the other side of the door and waited for cut. As soon as production called cut, I walked back to my initial placement to shoot the scene again, only to see this woman running towards me. She is still trying to keep her voice down, but screeches at me, "What the heck do you think you're doing? You can't just walk across the set when the cameras are rolling. You can move this stuff later." I stood back, stunned, and just scoffed. As soon as it sunk in that she had mistaken me for actual production staff, I nervous laughed and just said, I meant to. I'm an actor. Her face was priceless. She asked why my outfit was so realistic, and I told her about my partner's job. She was incredibly embarrassed as her speaking caused the scene to be shot again. All of the production staff and the very famous main cast watched this happen and started smiling. I just walked back to my starting position and got ready for the next shot. From then on, the production team all recognized me and said hi, making jokes about how I was trying to steal their jobs. Even the main three main cast members, who I massively idolized, began chatting to me between takes and joking around, and generally not being the Hollywood jerks I was worried they might be. I didn't see the woman again for the week I was filming, and continued being friendly on set with the three famous guys, one of whom I had the pleasure of taking smoke breaks with a couple of times. All in all, I'm glad she was a jerk, because my whole time filming was so much more fun, and I got some breaks with one of my favorite actors ever. Okay, my favorite. Trivia time. Does anyone have any ideas on what show it could be? I racked my brain and couldn't think of anything. Maybe Euphoria? I know that's new. Wheel of Time? Three lead actors at a concert. Comment below if you have any ideas. I would love to know. And now, onto our final story that will leave you with a smile. Lady thought I worked at the museum, but I'm 10. Okay, I had forgotten all about this and not sure if this does belong here, but my mom brought this up yesterday and I thought it would be a good story to share. A wholesome one. When I was a kid, I used to be really into dinosaurs, like really into them, knowing almost everything about my favorite ones, and had hopes of becoming a paleontologist. And yes, Jurassic Park, the first film, is still one of my favorite movies, right next to The Ballad of Pig Al. Yep, I'm a nerd. Anyway, when I was a kid, we went to visit my grandparents in another state, and my grandma mentioned that a new museum had just opened near the city, and mom and dad thought, why not? I was excited. My sister was okay with it since we were going to her favorite shop afterward. Now keep in mind, I'm a 10-year-old girl over 5 feet and a bit of baby face still. Also, the museum employees were in safari style clothes. I remember that well because I thought they looked cool and like real paleontologists. I don't remember what I was wearing, but my mom said they were just plain clothes. The museum was awesome. They had real skeletons beside a painted version of the dinosaur on the wall and loads of information on each fossil and skeleton. I stood beside this kid younger than me, and he was confused about this one pterosaur skeleton above us, and he asks his mom what that bird was. When she didn't know, I tell him all about this little pterosaur and what they like to eat, that they had feathers, their wing membrane being similar to bats, etc. You would have thought that I had told him all the secrets of the world with how wide his eyes were, and this look of awe plastered on his face. He and I chatted for a long time as we walked around the museum, and I answered all the questions he had about them. After a while, the mom said, "Wow, you know these creatures well. Thank you for taking the time to give us a tour." I smiled before mom called me over and we went into the shop to look at the dino stuff they had. I vaguely remember this, but mom helped to fill me in. She has a sharper memory than I do. According to mom, the lady was checking out with her son and she started talking about me and how well I knew all about my job, saying that her son had so much fun and asked if the manager could give me a raise. The cashier asks who I was, and after she described me, the cashier was confused. That's when mom stepped in and explained that I don't work here since I'm 10, but that I just love dinosaurs and love talking about them to anyone who wants to hear. The lady seemed embarrassed, but she was thankful to me nonetheless and asked my mom to tell me that for her. I was busy looking through the toys and wasn't listening to them. Her son waved goodbye to me as they walked out, and I waved back. Mom told me how proud she was and that I made a little boy's day. I left with a big smile and a stuffed velociraptor to commemorate the occasion. So sorry to anyone who was expecting a crazy lady story, but I thought a wholesome one about a simple mistake leading to a fun day and making someone happy would have been better. No parting words from your lovely narrator today. I couldn't have ended it any better than OP just did. I hope it made you smile like it did for me. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.